Numbers 26, the second census, the new generation numbered. Numbers 26 records the second census of Israel, taken on the plains of Moab just before entering the Promised Land. The old generation that came out of Egypt has died in the wilderness, except for Joshua and Caleb. Now, the Lord commands a new census. Count the new generation, all men 20 years and older who are able to serve in battle. This is a census of hope. The old has passed away. The new is about to enter the land. Let's walk through the numbers. The second census. After the plague, the Lord said to Moses and Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, take a census of the whole Israelite community by families, all those 20 years old or more who can serve in the army of Israel. So on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke with them and said, take a census of the men 20 years old or more, as the Lord commanded Moses. These were the Israelites who came out of Egypt. The census is recorded tribe by tribe compared with the previous census of Numbers chapter 1. The descendants of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, were Hanokite, the Peluite, the Hezronite, the Carmite clans. Those numbered were 43,730. The son of Pelu was Eliab, and the sons of Eliab were Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. The same Dathan and Abiram were the community officials who rebelled against Moses and Aaron and were among Korah's followers when they rebelled against the Lord. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed them along with Korah, whose followers died when the fire devoured the 250 men, and they served as a warning sign. The line of Korah, however, did not die out. The descendants of Simeon by their clans were the Nemuelite, the Jaminite, the Jachinite, the Zerahite, the Shaulite. Those numbered were 22,200. The descendants of Gad by their clans were the Zephonite, the Haggite, the Shunite, the Oznite, the Arite, the Aradite, the Arlite. Those numbered were 4,500. And Onan were sons of Judah, but they died in Canaan. The descendants of Judah by their clans were the Shilonite, the Perizzite, and the Zerahite. The descendants of Perez were the Hezronite, the Hamulite. Those numbered were 76,500. The descendants of Issachar by their clans were the Talate, the Pite, the Jashubite, the Shimronite. Those numbered were 64,300. The descendants of Zebulun by their clans were the Saradite, the Elonite, the Jalalite. The number was 6,500. The descendants of Joseph by their clans through Manasseh and Ephraim were the descendants of Manasseh, the Machirite. Machir was the father of Gilead and the Gileadite. The descendants of Gilead, the Izarite, the Helekite, the Azraelite, the Shechemite, the Shemidite, the Heperite. Zelophehad, son of Heper, had no sons. He had only daughters, whose names were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. The descendants of Asher by their clans were the Imnite, the Ishvite, the Beriite, the descendants of Beriah, the Heberite, the Malchilite. Asher had a daughter named Sarah. The clans of Asher numbered 53,400. The descendants of Naphtali by their clans were the Jazilite, the Gunite, the Jezerite, and the Shilamite. Those numbered were 45,400. Verses 63-65, the chapter notes, not one of them was among those counted by Moses and Aaron in the first census. Only Joshua and Caleb survived from the old generation. As the Lord had sworn, the rest died in the wilderness. The Lord said to Moses, the land is to be allotted to them as an inheritance based on the number of names. To a larger group give a larger inheritance, and to a smaller group a smaller one. Each is to receive its inheritance according to the number of those listed. Be sure that the land is distributed by lot. What each group inherits will be according to the names of its ancestral tribe. Each inheritance is to be distributed by lot among the larger and smaller groups. These were the Levites who were counted by their clans, the Gershonite, the Kohathite, and the Merite, the Libnite, the Hebronite, the Malite, the Mushite, the Korahite. Kohath was the forefather of Amram. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a descendant of Levi, who was born to the Levites in Egypt. To Amram, she bore Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam. Aaron was the father of Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they made an offering before the Lord with unauthorized fire. All the male Levites, a month old or more, numbered 23,000. They were not counted along with the other Israelites because they received no inheritance among them. These are the ones counted by Moses and Eleazar the priest when they counted the Israelites on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Not one of them was among those counted by Moses and Aaron the priest when they counted the Israelites in the desert of Sinai. For the Lord had told those Israelites they would surely die in the wilderness, and not one of them was left except Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun. Lessons and teachings. 1. God's promises are not thwarted by human failure. Not one of them was among those counted by Moses and Aaron in the first census. 12. 26:64. The old generation died in the wilderness because of unbelief. But God did not cancel his promise. He raised a new generation to enter the land. Human failure does not thwart divine purposes. For us, have you failed? Does it feel like you've disqualified yourself? God can raise a new generation even within you. Do not give up. 2. The census shows that God numbers his people. No one is forgotten. The total number was 601, 730, 26, 51. The census recorded every family, every tribe. God did not see a faceless crowd, he saw individuals. He knows each name. He counts each person for us. Do you feel forgotten in the crowd? You are not. God knows your name. He has counted you. 3. Some tribes grew, some shrank. Faithfulness has consequences. The tribe of Simeon numbered 22,200, 26,14, down from 59,300. Simeon suffered a drastic decrease, possibly due to the sin of Peor. Zimri was a Simeonite. Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Manasseh, Benjamin, Dan, Asher grew. Faithfulness or unfaithfulness had tangible consequences. For us, do your choices affect your spiritual growth? Obedience brings blessing, rebellion brings loss. Sow wisely. 4. The daughters of Zelophehad foreshadow justice for the voiceless. Zelophehad had no sons, only daughters. 26:33. In a culture where only sons inherited, the daughters of Zelophehad would later appeal for justice. Numbers 27. God grants their request. This census records their names. They are not forgotten. For us, do you advocate for those without a voice? God cares about justice. He hears the voiceless. 5. Joshua and Caleb, the faithful remnant. Only Joshua and Caleb survived. 26:65. From over 600 men of the first census, only 2 entered the promised land. Because they believed God. Faithfulness is rare, but it is rewarded. For us, are you willing to stand with the faithful remnant, even when the crowd turns away? Your faith will be remembered. 6. The new generation entered by faith. The old perished by unbelief. They died in the wilderness, as the Lord had said. 26:65. The old generation saw miracles, the plagues, the Red Sea, the manna, the cloud, but they refused to trust God at Kadesh. Their unbelief disqualified them. The new generation had not seen the Red Sea, but they believed through the witness of Joshua and Caleb. For us, do you believe based on what you have seen, or do you trust God's word? Faith is not about seeing, it is about trusting. Let's continue studying the book of Numbers. Subscribe, like, comment, and hit notification button for more videos, more Bible study, and more Bible knowledge. We got you.